Welcome to the Professor's Lab podcast, a show with a nerd, a clown, a duck, and a degenerate. Today we're going to be talking about theatre. What is theatre? Is this theatre? Is this theatre? Am I theatering right now? Yes, I am theatering. Okay. This is going to be the most amazing Professor's Lab podcast episode ever recorded. And you may be wondering, why is the best episode ever recorded about theatre? Well, I don't know. But I feel like it's going to be the best one because we have some very special guests here that have never been on here before. Okay. And since we're talking about theater, we're going to be talking about theater with theater kids. Okay. Now, I don't know how often I've talked about it on the podcast here, but I am in my first and probably only year of theater, depending on if I find a theater club or class in college. Okay. So, of course, I'm joined here with Owen, and so we already know who Owen is. And so let's just go down the line. Scott, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Scott. I'm a techie and an actor.
Epic. And then Steven.
Hi, I'm Steven. Um, I'm in advanced drama and tech 3. I run the publicity stuff and I do social media. And I'm a micro celebrity in our class. I think that's fair.
Yep. And you're also a presidential candidate, and so you're even more famous.
True that.
You're like the next Donald Trump. Charlie.
Okay, with that. Hello, I am Charlie, and I'm in advanced theater, and I mostly just do acting. Sometimes I make some short films, which are very fun.
Can you link some of the short films? Are they public?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're on.
yeah.
A lot of them are posted on my YouTube channel, so I can
On
start putting them
yours,
some in the chat.
Stevens. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, my turn. So I am Professor Teagues, and I am an intro. Okay. And so I am also technically drama and tech at the same time. So okay. So our first talking point here on my list here, is how we got introduced to theater. Now, theater is something that's always been around for hundreds of years, and it's in Red Dead 2, so that means it's real. And it was in like the 1700s and all that stuff. So we've always known of theater, I assume. But we've all had an awakening at one point or another. And so why did we decide to take an interest into theater? Why did we join? Okay? You know what? I'm gonna ask Owen first, even though he's not a theater kid. He's just here to join us for the ride. Owen,
Wait.
what do you know about theater?
I know nothing about theater, bro. I'm
Oh.
not in any of the classes, and I don't plan on taking any of these classes. So, yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay. I'll pass it over to Scott. So, what's the beginning of Scott's story? Okay. What's the Scott lore of why Scott is doing the theater? Yeah.
I joined theater freshman year, second semester, because I failed out of honors physics and German class. And my only options were intro to theater or guitar. And I hate guitar, so I chose theater. It wasn't until our first show, Alibis, that I started to really like theater because I decided to go into acting and tech. So I learned a lot and it was really fun for me, and I just continued from then on.
Yes. Yeah, I remember the alibis. I don't want to say a real name. Let me mute my input audio.
Yeah.
See.
What character was she? She was the
I
not the
have
He was
Scottish
a
chick.
surgeon.
Yeah, I have my script on my shelf right here. I can
Oh my
look through
God.
it.
She was
still
a
have the
doctor.
script.
Yes, she was towards the
Yeah,
end.
she
She
was
was
a
a
doctor.
doctor. Yes, I remember everything.
Yes. Was she Writing Horn's doctor?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
she was writing horse doctor when he went to the dentist, or was it? I'm not sure what
No,
it
it
was.
was to get his mole checked out because he had that big
Oh,
ass
yeah.
mole.
Wow. Um, Okay, so I found Steven's channel. I typed John Rosehammy incorrectly for a moment,
Fair
and it
enough.
took me a second. But
Our
here we
best
are.
movie is blocked in the United States.
What?
Because of
Really?
a copyright thing. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
I'll
can't look
send
at
it.
it?
No, you
The,
can't. Hold
the,
on. Let me get the.
I mean, you can look at
I
it.
mean, do you have a VPN?
No, we
It
have a
got
firewall.
blocked?
It got blocked. It got like I'll have to
What?
upload a different version with it because of the Martin Dean song, which
Oh.
is that's dumb as hell.
there's a deep set of irony that our best short film is blocked.
There we go. It's blocked,
There
so
we
you won't be able to
go.
watch it. But
Uh-huh.
Oh,
there it
I
is.
Wow.
working on it was fun. That was
It was
fun.
great.
Yeah. So if I went to England, then would I be able to see it?
No, it's blocked in the UK as well.
What? Well,
Wait, so where isn't it blocked then?
Yeah.
It's blocked everywhere except it's blocked. It's only blocked in 3 countries: the US, uh,
Canada?
Canada, and the UK.
Okay. Well, the UK is multiple countries, so just England?
Yeah, I guess.
Interesting. Okay, so if I went back to Wales or Scotland, then I could see it.
I
Yes.
imagine.
Okay. But
Then
yeah.
you would have to go to Wales or Scotland, and I don't want that for you.
Well, they're much better countries, believe it or not. But yeah,
You
so
got it.
there are Hood Gang classics like the Decades Project, the Picasso Project,
Someone
Mikael
said we were good at naming
Mikael.
things.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. It was a film about making films. Yes.
There's another. We made another one like that recently. That one, Superior at Saft. I'll send that one as well. It's unlisted, but I'll
Wow.
send it.
Michael wins a superior.
And it did win a
boy.
Superior.
And we got your own podcast. I totally forgot. I was in episode 4.
3, I think.
4. No, it's
3
4.
or 4.
Because
We made it
3.
to 4 episodes. Wow.
Yes.
Can't believe we got that far.
I know. Yes. I remember rewatching that episode 4, right before I started this podcast because I wanted to see. You know what? Let's see what bits of my podcasting skill needs some work, and then I'll think about it, and then when I actually do my first episode, then it will be fixed. And I think I did a kind of a good job. I don't know. Right. So what were we saying? Introduction to theater. Yeah, well, that's Steven's channel. And so about Steven, how did you get introduced to theater? What's your lore?
Well, I've always been aware of theater in some way or another. I've
Mhm.
gone to see shows when I was younger. I've gone to see a lot of Gaslight. There's a theater in town called the Gaslight Theater.
Mhm.
And they do a lot of like really like it's very broad appeal like comedy shows. They do a lot of shows. And I would go to see those during the Christmas time with my parents when I was younger. But I never really got into like the theater or acting until high school. And freshman year, I didn't even originally take theater. The only reason I ended up taking theater was because during the third day of school, my Spanish teacher, I told her a joke, and she took offense to that joke and told me never to say jokes around her. So I dropped the class and took theater instead.
That's really,
And
really funny. Yeah, I also used to go to the Gaslight Theater all the time when I was younger. I remember seeing an Indiana Jones like rendition. I saw a Star Wars play.
Space
And
Wars? You see Space Wars?
maybe that was it. I don't know. I don't remember much. Yeah, I think I was like 4 or 5. And so we kind of
see.
stopped going to the theater after that for some reason. I went to it again recently for our play report for the teacher. When we have to say his name, just say Mr. G, and so we don't
Okay.
dox his last name. Yeah.
Mm.
So for his play report, we went to the theater again in like late November to see A Small Town Christmas, and it was really, really epic. And so I did my second play report on A Small Town Christmas. The first one, of course, being Nevermore. Yeah. So, Charlie, your introduction to theater. Why do you theater?
I theater because I randomly wanted to in middle school. And then I tried multiple times because how middle school theater worked, to get in, you had to write a note to the teacher. And I failed the first time. Then I got in on my last year in 8th grade. Let's say it went moderately okay. But as soon as I saw, I'm going to say, Mr. G, so I don't dox him, is Trap. It was a play called Trap. Instantly got hooked into plays and thought it was very interesting.
All right then. Who was your favorite character?
In which? In Trap?
Yeah, Trap.
Oh, the whole thing was with Trap was that it was all interviews.
What?
So I never grew full connections with the characters, but the whole twist that I thought was extremely cool was that the forgive me, it's very unorthodox, but the play itself was this evil force that drew people in and were forced to watch this spectacle of a bunch of people basically talking about plays that they used to go to and how it all turned wrong in the end. And the ending is what I still remembered the most. All the lights turned out and eyes appeared across the stage. So there wasn't really any favorite characters. It was just mostly favorite moments.
All right. Okay, so how we got introduced, why we joined. Oh wait, no, I need to talk about me. So of course I mentioned the theater in town. We used to go to it all the time. But then my brother, when he was in middle school, he was in theater for some reason. I didn't take him for a theater kid, but he absolutely smashed the competition. All right, they did The Little Mermaid, Pinocchio. I don't know what he did for Little Mermaid, but for Pinocchio, he was not Geppetto, the big dude, the human trafficker. What's his name?
Oh my god.
He had like a
I'm not
Russian
sure.
accent.
I do not know.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, he was that dude. He was the antagonist. And he's all big and like he's like the Michelin Man and he's muscular and stuff. And so he played the part really, really well, and he was really into Russians at the time, so he could do the accent and stuff. At least I think it was a Russian accent. I don't know. Yeah. So that performance, we were very impressed with our boy. Okay, and I was like 6, 7 years old, something like that, and so I was amazed. I was simply amazed by it. So then, after that, I didn't really have that much exposure. Like, sure, there was the theater stuff when I was in school, and even when I started high school, like I knew of it. But if you remember how I was as a freshman, absolutely not how I act now. Okay, let me send
True.
a photo of my
True.
yearbook photo from that year. Call me Professor version 2. There we go. So if I look like this as a freshman, then I mean, okay, maybe I would have fit in, but as an actor, no, I was an artist. I was in the art class that I only took for a year, because then after that I did photo for 2 years. So that's where I was occupied, being a photographer and a Spanish speaker. So that was my thing. So then, the thing about photo 2 was it got very boring, and I'm starting to forget why, because that's how boring it was. The first year was amazing, but the second year, like, yeah, it got harder. We did new things, but I lost interest because I realized how boring photo was. Okay, when I went to Scotland, England, and Wales over the summer, I took all these photos and stuff on my camera, and I got so bored of it after just a week out of the 3 weeks that we were there. And so I realized, yeah, I am definitely not going to be a full-time photographer. I have my certificate that like nominates me a professional photographer and photoshopper. Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, so I wanted to move on. What if I did video production? Because I do videos. We're doing a video right now. I used to make
Dude, yeah.
kind of films when I was younger in middle school. I'd set up the camera on a tripod and I would do skits. One of them, actually two of them, I did not upload because I thought they were horrible. It's exclusive DAO Comics archive, all right? And that's a story for another day. But yeah, yeah. So
Dude, yeah.
how did I want to move on? I eventually decided not to do video. Owen, you did video for a year, and you're going to do it for a second
Yeah,
year
I did video
next
for a
year.
year. It was
Yes.
actually pretty fun.
Yes.
I'm planning on doing video production too next year.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I started asking people about what video would be like, and I think this is like before I knew you, or maybe I did know you, but I didn't ask you. I wasn't asking you. And I hear all about it, and they're like, man, the teacher sucks. There's like a team project you have to do, and it sucks because people have to pull their end. And I'm like, nah, that sounds horrible. Which, of course, is a very generalized explanation of what video is like. But then I had the most amazing idea. What if I went all out my senior year and I did things that made me uncomfortable, which is something I've been doing for a couple years now, trying to find things that make me uncomfortable to branch out in many different ways. And I thought theater was the next best thing. I don't want to do photo. I don't want to do video. I don't want to do Spanish 3. So why not do theater? And so here we are in theater, and I'm still learning everything that I need to know, okay? And so I'm a newbie, and so that's what we're here for to discuss today. So that's how I was introduced, okay? I have friends that are freshmen and sophomores in that class. I am one of 2 seniors and stuff. I have been complimented on my acting skills quite a bit because I do videos so much at home. Why not translate that to the stage? And it translates pretty well. And I'm good at improv for some reason. And I'm good at writing stories. I'm a story writer. And just like Steven, we're like the same. Okay. So let's talk
Except
about
I'm
long-term
Asian.
goals. Where do we want to take theater? Scott, where do you want to take your tech skills?
Well, I'm the prop master. There's only so many things I can take outside of that. I'm not really planning to take theater into college, but I wouldn't mind working at local theaters to help do props.
So what kind
Um,
of props? Props that require painting or construction or what?
I do all around. I designed for SpongeBob. I'm designing for Chicago. I've designed for the plays last year. Um, if a prop is unique and has to be made specifically for a show, I'll usually handle it. But if it's something simple that just needs to be painted, I'll give it off to someone else.
Delicious. All right. So, well, what is an actual long-term goal? Like apart from theater. So, what replaces your tech and designing skills?
Well, I'd say the biggest thing I could get out of doing this is it taught me a lot of skills on how to speak to people I would have never spoken to before and how to handle frustrations. Because obviously, you're not going to have times where everyone's going to be on the same page as you. And so it teaches you how to handle things when they aren't going right and how to handle under a lot of stress.
All right. Yeah. So those are very useful skills to have in the business and, working class world, okay? My mom was in art school, but then she got kicked out because she had a C and not an A, and she had the worst grade in the class. And so she got a psychology degree, and despite her not being a psychologist or having a job that requires a psychology degree, she's a businesswoman, and she uses those college psychology skills to manipulate people and get them to buy stock in IBM. Okay. So yeah, everything that we learn in school, you don't have to have a degree for it, but you still learn things, and you can use that in the real world and in the business world and in just working in general. And it all works out for everyone. Okay, and that's all that matters. No matter what hobby you have, you will learn something, and it will benefit you as an adult. So then, Steven, that we come down to you. You have I'm sure you have a big story on what your long-term goals are. Um, yeah, so go ahead. What are your long-term goals?
My long-term goals, well, honestly, I find long-term goals like very broadly and very like if I make a long like a concrete long-term goal, it usually isn't very motivating and just kind of makes me feel bad about myself because like 5, 10 years in the future, I could be doing so many things, and I couldn't really confidently say like what those things could be. I definitely plan on taking theater into college. I mean, I am. I got accepted U of A, got my money.
Let's
Um,
go.
I'm going there to do that. And I would love, and working at the theaters is a good. I'd like. Actually, here's a goal. Here's a goal. I want to be able to work in every theater in town. Like I want to be able to work at Art Express. I want to be able to work at Live Theater. And I eventually I want to get to like Arizona Theater Company. Like those kind of that would be a good goal to have to be able to work get like a wide variety of workplaces that I've worked at. So there's a long term goal. I guess more broadly, I want to be able to like do this for a living because I very much enjoy and I would take a lot of pride in doing that for a living. So I guess if we're gonna make that concrete goal a little bit more achievable, I want to be able to buy a house with my theater money. I
Mm,
feel like that'd be like a huge brag to be like, yeah, I stood on stage and I said some words and that bought me this house right here.
yes.
I don't know. I just feel like that would be good.
I mean, what do you think about being a comedian? Because when I was like 9, 10, 11, I wanted to be a comedian, but then I was told that comedians don't typically make that much money. And so then I was like, "Oh, well, I'm not
So
funny. I hate being on stage, and I won't even get paid that much. You know what? I'm going to be an artist, an animator. That's what I wanted to be." So what do you have to say about that?
mm,
Comedian. What do you think about being a comedian?
I understand. I get that. Like in the sense that like I thought about like doing comedy and like doing stand up that kind of thing. Um, there are less than 1,000 professional comedians working today, which is I'd argue that it probably makes it the rarest job in the world, except for maybe prime minister and presidents.
Mm,
Like it is incredible how hard it is to be a successful like touring comedian. It is abhorrently rare and it is abhorrently hard because it's like a minute kind of job. Like actors get a lot of work because people love watching plays, watching movies. The niche for like going to a club and watching a stand-up performance is significantly smaller than that of like live plays or musicals, stuff like that. I mean, we have stuff like Netflix and Netflix specials, and those are where those big professional comedians work. But
mm-hmm.
again, there's less than 1,000 of them working today worldwide. So, I
Really,
mean,
less than a
I
thousand.
thought about it, less than 1,000, and I think that I'm not it's so different from what I do right now with theater and acting that I would have had to start way earlier for me to commit myself to it because I'm just not confident in my ability to go up on stage and do that kind of it's a different style. It's a different beast entirely. So
I mean, it requires a lot of improv as well, doesn't it? Because like
oh
a
yeah,
lot of comedians they script their jokes, but then there are some that are genuinely talented and they go up there, they say whatever's on their mind, and they're just naturally funny.
absolutely.
Mm. So, like, in terms of your improv ability, you have something going on in that noggin, okay? But
No, yeah, I have improbability. It's just not something that I would dedicate myself to right
all right,
now.
yeah. So, would you rather write your own play from your own noggin, or would you just like accept it from someone else and then you play the character that they present to you?
It's a tough one, but I guess it would be whether or not I would feel comfortable doing either of those things. 'Cause, I've done plays. I've every play I've done at Empire has been a play from someone else wrote and then
Mm-hmm.
Graham was directing. And I played a character, and I've had a great time doing that. And I've gotten the chance to like write some plays and
Mm-hmm.
then see them performed in class. Like for the Drama 2 final was you had to write a serious play, and Charlie here got to play the main character of that one. He did a great job.
Wow.
Um,
Thank you.
and I enjoyed that process too. I think it's very different. I think would I be directing my own play or would I be starring in it?
Um, well, if you're the one writing it, and or the person giving you the play thinks that you would be a good main character, then up to you.
I guess for the creative control and to be able to do something a bit more personal, I would choose to do my own play. But there's nothing wrong with doing plays written by someone else. I think it's a great. Oh, we lost one.
Oh, that was
I
Owen.
think it's a. I think it's a noble cause, and I think learning how to do theater, you kind of have to start with someone else's work, with like separate writer, separate director. It just like teaches you how to work together as a team in theater, which is so important.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so you want okay, yeah, you want to do theater full time. You want it to be your job. What about filmmaking? Because you talk a lot about making films. So like, what about
Love making films.
yeah? Would you want to
So
be a director?
when I say doing theater for a living, theater has this kind of narrow definition that people think of, in the sense of like they think of stage plays, musicals. I like to think theater a bit more broadly in the sense that like it's anything like performance based,
Mm-hmm.
live or not. And I love making films. Like I love like shooting stuff. I love writing films. And I've also I just realized I was looking at a different video. You can watch Report 776 on my channel. It's blocked in Russia though. So,
No.
but no one watching this lives in Russia. So you can watch it. It's really like that film is damn good. And I didn't even write it. Charlie wrote it. I got to film it and star in it as the it's a solo film. And we got Scott to help, and it looks amazing. I got to shoot it. That's my and me and Charlie both shot it, but we take equal cinematography credits. But
Wow,
my
you went
camera,
into
so
the desert and everything.
yeah, it was awesome. It was great.
That
Yeah.
poopy looked like an old town road, or is that like a
It's very
biking trail?
dusty. There was a lot of struggles with
Extremely
filming.
dusty.
We
Oh yeah, it was
we
tough.
It was a
we had a
holiday
walk.
weekend too.
Yeah,
You took a
the
walk.
funniest thing is that we had to drive my car to this just dusty road and then just carry our equipment down the road.
Yeah, I
Wow.
didn't carry
So
any equipment. I was the talent, so you know.
yeah,
Had
you
to
you
act pretty.
you had
Me,
to look
me,
pretty
me
and
carry
talk
all your
words.
shit.
Why you
Yeah,
Then you
no,
got a
made
no.
me.
Scott
hiking
was our little
backpack?
pack mule.
I put makeup on you, and then you're like, nah, nah, take it off.
Did I? No, wait. What are you talking about? What do you say? Nah. I didn't say nah.
Yes, you did. You asked
When?
me to put fake injuries on you, and you looked at it, and you're like, nah, take it off. We're not doing this anymore.
Man, I wish I had a
Was
shed
that
in my backyard that I can just walk and live in.
true?
We
True.
had to clean
You
it
can't live in
out.
there.
We had to clean it
It,
out.
it was so bad.
There's a
Yeah.
You
giant
couldn't live in there.
mattress in
There's
the
not good
middle of the
insulation.
floor.
Oh. Okay. So yeah, that's filming. So now I'm a little more knowledgeable about theater so far, because theater is more than just being on stage. It's also just acting in general, and you can perform behind a camera, like what I do every single week on the main channel, because I am Professor Teagues, a professional commentator, and I make jokes sometimes, only if I'm feeling like it. Yeah. So I am also somewhat of a thespian myself in it. All right, Charlie, your long-term goals. Where are you gonna take theater from here after high school?
So I'm definitely going to go to college and work on directing and film, and then also acting theater to just get that broad range of knowledge. Because unfortunately, at the current moment, I am not a good editor. I've had to force Steven to edit most of the films that I've wrote.
It's horrible.
Well, what software
Yeah,
do you
I
use?
Me,
What
have to
software?
subject
I'm always
him.
on a huge crunch. I'm always staying up till like 3 o'clock in the morning editing, and then not going to school the next day. Thank you, Charlie.
I'm sorry.
Love you. No, you're
I
good.
care about you too.
What software do you
But
use?
if I were to put a broad goal into what I want to do, is I want to make so much entertainment. I want to make a stupid amount of entertainment to the point where people just look at it and just, oh, great, this guy again,
Oh, that's
as
what I'm saying.
I make up another film.
Yeah.
I just want to make art and share experiences that other people have not either seen or thought of before.
So would you be multimedia? You would do the videos, the theatrical performances, maybe even gaming. Would you do multiple things at once?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. As I wouldn't be too sure about gaming. I mean, I think it would be interesting to like make a YouTube channel and like play video games, talking to people. That'd be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But having a multi-platform to create things is definitely what I strive to have.
It's good for the
'cause
winters.
definitely. But yeah.
Yes. Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Okay. So, the same person I mentioned earlier. Mute. Okay, we had a conversation some months ago, and she's like, um, I want to be like everything. I want to draw. I want to be a painter. I want to crochet. I want to make music. I want to write stuff. I want to write books, and then I'll make a bunch of money off of all of it. And so if I get bored of one thing, I can just continue pursuing the other and take a break, you know? And I'm like, yeah, you go, girl. That's exactly what I do. I do so many things at once, and when I get bored of one thing, I just stick to another for a while and take a break from it, all right? Like, let's okay, I have all kinds of social media platforms, so let's just name them off. We have the main channel, the second channel here that this podcast is on, the Bloody Rumble that I have not done anything with, the Instagram where I share life, and sometimes I post edited videos on there, and interviews are coming back. They're coming back in March, probably.
They let you back on campus? They're gonna let you
no,
back?
no, it's in VR chat.
Oh. Oh, okay, I see. They're not letting you back. Not after what you did.
Nah.
I
Criminal.
don't know. Well, what did he
happened?
do?
Yeah.
It was
Remind me
something unforgivable.
Remind me in a second. So Instagram, Twitter, where I just do schizo posting and it's nothing special, but I also share the interviews on there, or I did. Twitter, X, TikTok, where I also put the interviews on there. And then the Discord server where there's a lot of stuff. Let me look at it. So we got, well, I mean, you read the rules, you can pick your own reaction rules. And there's the news tab where I share all kinds of news, like the aftermath of Tumad overdosing. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah.
I watched.
I
There was
heard
a Dreg video about it. That was really good in my opinion.
I'm
I
going to
heard
make a
about
video
it on
about it today,
Twitter.
but I'm going to try to be respectful about it because death is a very sensitive topic as a Christian, all right? But yeah, anyway, so this chat hub, you can talk about stuff. There's the debate center. Then, of course, there's a self-promotion channel because every server has to have that. There's the art museum, so whenever I draw stuff, I put it in there. There's juicy videos, so you can share videos. There's memes, which is like the main channel I use because I look at a lot of memes. There's music. There's epic gamer moments, so if there's anything gaming related that you want to post in it, then it goes in there. There's scientific work, which is basically behind the scenes. And so when I make Photoshop edits or when I finish an interview or when I want to show a preview of like a second channel video or something, stuff like that. There's the personal blog, which is basically Twitter and Instagram. But so that I don't really use it that much. Then I shared my YouTube uploads, and then when I streamed on Twitch, I share the Twitch clips, all that stuff. And that's about it. Yeah, so I do quite a bit with the server. It's just kind of, it's basically an emporium that like doubles as a file folder. And so I just put random stuff in there that I don't want to download. And it's easier to find because then I can like search. There's the search bar and you can find keywords. Yeah, so with all that, I'm an artist, meaning I draw, I do photographs, I edit videos all the time. I talk, and so it's a little bit of a comedian theater thing going on there. Only sometimes, only if I feel like it. And then there's writing, which I don't usually share my writing that much anywhere. I'm writing a book right now. That's a story for another day, though. I mean, that's kind of long and short of it. That's 5 things on my one hand that I've listed that I do all the time, and that's pretty good. Where was I going with it? Okay, you wanted to ask why I got suspended. I don't think I talked about this on the podcast. I did on the main channel, but I got suspended for doing interviews because back in August, I remember it was like right before my birthday. Owen told me that we should interview the. Hang on, let me mute.
I'm familiar.
I do
Mhm.
not.
No.
Yeah,
I
well,
do
he's
not
one of
either.
the sped kids, you know.
Oh.
Yeah. Um.
Okay.
And so I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. I want to see what he knows about femininity. So the question was, is femininity a curse? Because it's like thought provoking. And so why don't we ask O'Neill? Like he's a student, right? He's a person. He's a real person that we respect. So why can't we interview him? So we tried to interview him. He said yes, by the way. Femininity is a curse. He agrees. Um,
My man.
and so we got caught by one of the parapros and security guards, and they're like, "Get the frick away from him! Hey, what's the matter with you? Get out of here!" Um, and so then we skedaddle. We interview other people, but then the next day, I get called to the principal's office, um, and he's asking me, "What the frick were you doing yesterday?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I was just interviewing. You know, what's the problem?" "Well, why were you interviewing one of the special needs kids?" And I'm like, "Well, because." Literally all of us are special needs. Why can't we interview a fellow special needs kid, okay, and treat him like a human? And he's like, well, what were you asking him for the interview? And I'm like, is femininity a curse?
Was this Mr. Was this the
Yeah,
principal?
yes, it was Senior D.
Oh, that's so funny. To like
Yes.
imagine you, I like Mr. D. We'll call him Mr. D. Um, that's so funny because I've been in. Was this in his office?
Yep, in his office.
That's so intimidating. His office is so intimidating.
I know. I mean, the lights
I've
were
never
on.
had the pleasure to be in his office.
curse,
Tell me, give
terrifying.
me a description of what his office
Yeah,
is
Well,
what is
he
like.
has a
like?
secretary. He has a secretary. It's
Yeah.
those you walk off and there's this room where his secretary sits. All right, it already feels way more fancy than the rest of the school.
Mm-hmm.
And then you walk in and there's a big ass window to the whole campus,
Mm-hmm.
and then his desk and a very low chair on your end. You got to sit in the low chair. You got to feel small,
Mm-hmm.
and then he just you know sometimes he'll keep you waiting.
Yep.
Just looks on.
Yeah,
So
and I
how
had
did-
to,
how do you
outside his
know?
office, I had to sit next to another person that was misbehaving. But I knew for a fact what I did was much worse than whatever they did. Because they were being all like bratty, like, why should I even be here? Me, though, I knew exactly what I did. I
know what
wasn't
you
sorry
did.
that I did it because, like I said, we're treating this kid like a human. I'm asking him a question. Why can't I ask him a question? I'm not harming him, okay? But yeah, I knew what I did. I'm not sorry that I did it. I'm sorry that I got caught, okay? Because if Mr. D, if Mr. D has a problem with it, then that's his problem. Like I know he's the principal and he has to prevent these things, but gosh dang it, it's just very frustrating because we like being mischievous sometimes, you know.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we had a pretty long conversation in there. He called my parents over when they were working, so they got pulled
Oh.
out of the house. They came over, and they weren't. They pretended to be mad. Okay, they didn't. They didn't care that much. When we got home, we were all laughing about it. Like, dude, what the frick is wrong with you? Why would you do that? Hey, you're so goofy. No YouTube for the rest of the week. Do your schoolwork. You know, that was basically it. But
Mm.
they like in front of the principal, my mom's like, usually he's such a good kid, but sometimes he needs a beating. And I look at her, I'm like, why would you
Oh.
say that in front of the principal? Now it
Did
looks like
she
I
say
get
that?
abused. Yeah, she said that I needed a beating.
Your mom's a comedic genius.
I know because she never actually
That's
beat
very
me.
funny. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. But there you go. That's how I got suspended for 3 days. On my birthday,
Nice.
we went to Red Lobster, and I told the story to my family, my extended family, my family friends, and it was pretty funny because my whole brother, my middle brother, his favorite part of the story is when the principal asked me, um, um, like, so you're exploiting a special needs student for no, what did he say? I don't know. Like he asked me a direct question, and I say yes to it. And then when I said that part of the story, my brother just died laughing. That's his favorite. I don't remember. I need to rewatch the main channel video where I talked about it. But yeah, yeah, that's how I got suspended. So theta. What's the next thing on my schedule list here? My journey. Well, how's the year been so far? So I was told that I was already pretty talented as an actor before this year. And I was like, really? I'm a good actor? What are you talking about? And so that's how I was half convinced to join theater. And then I got completely convinced. I don't remember why. So then I actually joined. And since I'm older than most of the people in there, um, I have a lot of experience as a content creator and as a student. And so when Mr. G gives us an assignment, um, I get it done really, really quick. And so my team depends on me to do a lot of work because every single one of them, they're freshmen and sophomores with severe ADHD. So throughout the entirety of class, it doesn't matter if Mr. G's talking or what, they're buried in their phone, scrolling through IG Reels and YouTube Shorts. And
That is worrying.
like
Young
I can
people.
I can look at them and talk to them. I'll like ask them a question, and unless if I say their name, they will not pay attention. That's how short their attention span is because they're young. They're like barely a
Yeah, put
Gen
these kids
Alpha.
down.
Yeah, bro.
Burn them.
Yeah, burn. So yeah, being friends with freshmen, it's something I can't get away from. Because like I talk to the people that are our age so much, like fellow seniors. I already know everything about all of them. And so the ones that I like, I'll stick around, and then the ones that I don't like, which is a lot of them, I stay away from. And so I'm forced to socialize with the new kids that come in every year. And so that's basically the entirety of theater, socializing with the new kids. Um, yeah, improv. I talked about improv. I'm good at improv. Some people in there are kind of bad, but they like doing the activities anyway, which is fine, you know. I'm a good writer. I'm a quick learner. Um, yeah. Okay. So we did this one assignment where, of course, we had to write our own scripts. And so that book I mentioned earlier that I'm writing right now, it's called Walter Neon. Okay. And Neon is a surname that I made up. And I made it up when I was 9. Because this is a character I fleshed out ever since I was 5 years old. Okay. And so I'm turning it into a book. Because recently I was thinking about the whole story in my mind. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of fire. Maybe I should write a book about this because maybe I could sell this off to Warner Bros. Someday, you know? Um, but yeah, so I decided to make a little play about it. But basically, Walter Neon is immortal. He's born immortal, and so are a bunch of other people in the world, but he is one of few in the world that is born immortal. Okay, he's born in 1898 in Manhattan, New York. Okay, and obviously he gets enlisted into the Great War, and then he doesn't die because he's immortal. And people are like, "Whoa, an immortal on our troop? That's crazy." And so he's in the war for like the entirety as the U.S. joins it, and then he comes home traumatized. But he's like, "Why? Why is war so cruel?" You know, that cliche. It's purposely cliche. It's a long story. So long, it's actually 200 years. There's a lot of lore to go over. But anyway, so as he's home in 1919, he's having dinner with the neighbors called the Criddles. And so that's what my play is about. Them having dinner at the neighbor's house and stuff. And I didn't lore dump that much. It's just a little scene that I wanted to write out and have people perform. And they said that I wrote it very, very well. They were very impressed with my writing ability because they're children, okay? And there's also the whatchamacallit, the thing coming up where you can submit your own plays and they can be drafted as like an actual professional play thing in the future. What's it called?
Say that again.
The bloody the you s- the thing where you submit your own script for a play and people can vote on if it
Oh,
can.
young playwrights?
Young playwrights, yes. So they told me to submit it to young playwrights, and I could. Nothing's stopping me. But I am not very confident in it. It is kind of lackluster. If I want to submit a play of my whole story here, then it would be in the war or something, because that's something that would get people's attention. That would be high production, okay? So, I'm not going to do it, all right? It's just them having dinner and arguing about stuff. And it's not it's funny sometimes, but it's not that funny. I didn't put that much effort into it, but they were impressed with it anyway. So there you go. that's basically me
Tyler, look
saying
at
that
chat.
I am a very talented writer, apparently, and I just don't realize these things until people tell me.
Tyler, look at chat.
Yeah, look at these people. They're sleeping. I wonder what that means.
That's
Well, I guess that's everything on my list. I thought this would be like 3 hours long.
No, I mean,
I'm
Well,
just chilling
good
and
talk.
listening.
do you have any questions? Like, do we have any questions, or
Questions.
do you have any questions, Tyler?
Mm?
Do you burning questions for because we've been doing this for like 4 years. I think
Yeah.
all of us have been doing this for the 4 years. So
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I know me and Scott have done this for 5 years.
Except I'm the only
Wow.
one who's gone through Tech 2. Steven, you just showed up.
shut up. Sorry,
yeah.
I'm too good.
I am Stagecraft certified and OSHA certified. You just showed up one day.
OSHA.
I post on social media, Scott. All right, I don't even get O certified for that shit.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, for the yearbook kids, my boy Kyle, he interviewed me as a theater kid because he asked me if I wanted an interview, and I'm like, yeah, I know everything about theater already. I've been in this thing for 3 months. You already know. And so, he asked me, how do you overcome stage fright? And I'm like, huh. Well, just don't look at the crowd. You look at the back wall and you just pretend nobody's there. Yeah. And so he's like, oh, okay. Because he's not a theater kid. He doesn't know. And so anything I said
Mhm.
was 10 times more valuable than whatever he would say. And so he took it. And he came back to me a week later and he's like, the thing you said about stage fright, it sucks. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So I'm going to pass the question on to you guys. What is
Okay.
the real tactic of overcoming stage fright? Because I've actually never been in a play yet. I've been on stage. I've been in front of 200 people before. But for theater, no. So how does it work?
Can I say something? Can I go first?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Because I just want to important to say, I would say that you never get over stage fright. I've been doing this for 4 years. I've been in a lot of shows. I was for Lancelot. I was in pretty much the whole show, and I had 370. It was 7 lines. It was crazy. And you think doing that during rehearsal and doing that for a whole bunch of shows, you get used to it. I never got used to it. It's always scary.
Mm-hmm.
I think you just have to find a way to like cope with it on stage.
All right.
And like kind of utilize it.
Well, how
like
do you-
even today,
how
like
do
we.
How do you cope with it?
You have to absorb yourself in your character and forget that you are an actor on stage and just think about what your character is doing.
Mm.
Like I think then you can kind of focus your energy into kind of forgetting you're on stage and focusing on what you're going to do. So if you know what you're going to do, you have to think about why am I going to do that. So if you can kind of replay the scene in your mind as like and discover things as they happen, yet still be able to do those things when they happen, I think you can forget you're on stage and just be the character and not really realize the audience is even there.
Okay. So I guess that is something I already do. So when I give speeches at church, because I have to give talks, I have to do lessons because I'm old. And so I just like when I'm talking right now, I basically talk like this when I present stuff so I can project my voice and people can hear me clearly. You've heard my normal voice. I'll do it right now. Hey everyone, Moist Critical here. Today we're going to be talking about the big poopiest butt chungus, all right? So I can't do that when I'm presenting or giving a lesson or I'm speaking over 200 people. So yeah, I guess that's what I do. I immerse myself into Professor Teagues, okay? And maybe I do it in conversations as well. I do it a lot, okay? Especially if I'm in a crowded or loud area. I have to project my voice one way or another, and slipping back into Professor Teagues is the easiest way I can do that. So that's very interesting. You're making me learn a lot about myself, Steven, okay? Charlie, you're also a professional actor. How do you cope with stage fright?
I just like what Steven said. You don't really get over stage fright, and how I mostly cope with it is I have to keep a balance between reading the audience and being in character, because in especially comedic plays, you have to understand if the audience is like not feeling it or if they're immersed. whether you have to do one action or not. But just overall distracting yourself from stage fright helps a lot in the long run. But the best way I can ever describe it is like the first time you drive. Except that happens every single show. So it's always the first time you drive. And you just have to suck it up and keep driving.
Like Ryan Gosling. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, yes. Okay.
I think my
So-
internet died.
No, well, I can still hear you, sussy. Well, now I can't. He's not speaking. Oh, no.
Oh, he's gone. We lost him.
No.
Damn it! No.
No.
Well, he
He
gave us the
finished his
last. He
monologue.
gave us the last bit of
gone.
knowledge he could
Oh, there
ever
he
Oh,
give
he's
us.
back.
Yep,
Charlie. Yeah.
my internet died real quick.
Yes.
And then it came back.
And I
I think
came
it's so funny because you said that, and then you're. It's like the guy like gets shot, looks down at his chest, then falls over. You know.
Actors, I have a question.
Yes.
Do you, with stage fright, since like the point that was made that it doesn't go away, does it ever hit you afterwards? Because for me, after I perform, I build up so much anxiety performing that it's not noticeable to those around me, but once I'm off stage, it hits me hard and I feel like I'm gonna faint. Do you guys ever get that?
Okay, I kind of get that because, like I said, I do more than just acting. Even before I joined theater, when I give a presentation or I'm giving a speech in government, I have to present my opinions in government class all the time, and I'll say something that the whole class does not rock with, and they're like, "Oh, why would you say that?" Or they're like giggling and stuff. And I just keep going. I just keep speaking. I ignore it. But then when I stop speaking, class is over. I go through the rest of the day. I go home. I think back to the debate, speech, presentation, whatever, and I think, dang, I could have done that so much differently. And then I start getting like, it's a mixture of nervous and anxiety, and like, but I'm not in the situation. I just start like, yeah, let's say I just start degrading myself. Okay, like, what the frick, mate? All right. Here's what I would say instead if I was back in that classroom right now, but it's too late. So like, yeah, it definitely hits after for me. Okay, because when you do that Steven coping mechanism, it is now copyrighted as the Norton tactic. Okay.
Sure.
You immerse yourself into the character and you just ignore everything else around you. Okay, you forget that you're an actor and you start thinking that you're the character, okay? So when I'm in the midst of doing that, I don't think about anything that's worrying me. But then afterwards, I get back into me. And then it hits, okay? What do you two have to say about this?
Drugs. It's how
I
it goes.
think-
Drugs.
Yeah, he copes with drugs, but I do that with every single conversation I have, and I think I finally found a strategy on how to deal with that. Especially right now, it's like, oh God, what if if I rewatch this, how many dumb things am I going to say?
Yeah.
But you just have to realize that everyone in the world, and I took this from Steven a long time ago, takes a dump.
No.
Just
Oh,
goes
yeah,
to the
everyone-
bathroom.
Everyone shits.
Everyone shits.
If you're ever looking at someone's
And-
booty, just remember that there's poo-poo inside.
Exactly. And you have to realize that everyone's ridiculous in their own ways. There's obviously a line where you just have to remember not to be offensive, or sometimes it comes with being who you are. But yeah, people who talk bad to you after what you say are not people who you want to have acknowledgement with. What I mean by that is like, people who talk bad to you right after when you talk are just not good people, very judgmental and very closed-minded. And it's good that you have now gotten them out of the way.
So is
At
there a
least that's
line?
how
Is there a line to walk on? Like, if someone says something controversial, but it's not like they're hurting anyone, then they're not justified to be judged by someone else. But then, when does it get to the point where they need to be judged or talked bad
right. There is always a line, and it's a line that I haven't seen or hit yet, but there is definitely moments, at least in our current like social media atmosphere, where some things that people say are just oof, they're rough. You got to keep those type of thoughts to yourself or learn more about them, because everyone does not think about what they say. You obviously need to think about what you say, but you also need to stop taking yourself so seriously. So it's a measurement to being a kind and good person to being yourself. I think that's what I believe is the line.
Okay. Well, what if the person is like making threats? Is that well over the line?
Yeah, no, that
Charlie,
is well over
I
the
will
line.
kill you. I will kill you, Charlie. I will gut you like a fish. I will scalp you and then wear it as like a
whoa there,
wristband or
Steven.
something.
Whoa.
Scott, I will rip your arms off and then use
What
it
the
to
fuck did I do?
stew.
What did I do?
Nothing.
Scott, I will cut your hair and then use it as a paintbrush.
So there's fake threats like that happen between
These are very
friends.
real. These aren't threats. They're
Oh,
promises.
these are these are real. Oh shit! I need to lock my door real quick. Wait.
Oh, me too.
Too late.
Okay, it's
I'm
locked.
inside the house.
Oh
Check your
no,
closet.
he's in
Check
the
your closet.
wall.
My curtains are closed. The door's
See,
locked.
I'm
I
safe
don't
because
have a
Steven doesn't
closet
know where I
in-
live. He knows where
True.
Charlie lives.
He
No.
knows
No, no,
where
no,
I
Charlie.
live.
No, Charlie drove me to your house that one time, Scott.
Oh
Shit!
right.
No. No.
So
Damn
I think that's what shows where there's a line. There has to be context to what you say.
Okay. So, like, if you're making jokes and stuff, and you say something that kind of sounds serious, or like maybe it sounds like a threat, or it sounds like you're promoting a hate crime or something, does that not cross the line? Because that's what a lot of comedians do, and that's kind of the source of their humor, just like the shock factor. Does that cross the line or not?
Think of Jimmy
So-
Carr when you say
I
that.
think it depends on your audience.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. It depends on who you're talking to.
Okay.
'Cause, like,
For-
we have Steven in our class. We know what he
Right.
says. No one gives a shit anymore. It's just
Right.
Steven.
Yeah, and you with identity that people know about you, what you say is depending on to that person.
So when I give speeches in the government class, I need to start small. And then at the end of the year, I can just unleash it all. And then we graduate and nobody cares.
Possible.
Basically,
I would say
yeah.
for government. I would say for government, like when you're going up there and you're giving them like points and stuff, you need to like know what you're trying to get across or what you're trying to get through if you're trying to get a policy through, and then find a way to word it that will be to the sensibilities of the people who are listening. So let's say I'm in for an abortion. Let's get real controversial. I'm for abortion restriction for 6 months. So like you can't after 3 months you can't have an abortion. Let's say I'm for that, and I'm in a class room full of people that are very much like me saying that by itself would put itself at odds with the classroom. So you got to word it like there's a huge argument. It's very controversial about the abortion topic, And there's no right or wrong answers. It's all interpretation about when we think a person becomes a person. So I think there should be a compromise, as there are in many lots of politics, and you kind of lead them down that road. It's a little bit manipulative, you could say.
Yeah,
But
psychology.
you're
I
you're
mean,
saying the
isn't
same thing.
that
You're just
how you get what you want out? You kind of
yeah.
market it like this is exactly what needs to be done.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
all wording. It's all like making things softer, using softer language. George Carlin would be rolling over in his grave right now, but using that kind of softer language to describe something that's a bit more tough and a bit more by itself, people would not be susceptible to. Because people are more sensitive about politics nowadays. Not sensitive, maybe sensitive is not the right word, but people are more
Aggressive?
closed-minded,
Ah,
I would
yes,
say,
yes.
to ideas that aren't strictly to their worldview. So you kind of have to frame things as a compromise or getting that stuff across. So I'd say you don't have to wait. You just have to find a clever way to word it, and you need to know
Okay.
how your audience views you and how you view your audience, not who the audience is.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's something my mom explained to me recently, but in like a totally different way. But like, I
Mhm.
can see the similarities. You gotta know your audience first. You gotta know exactly what you're like about to say, and then you gotta consider how you need to word it for them to understand. And then you can walk the fine line of controversial and coherence, and um, and then you can get your message across and maybe even be a little persuasive, just like Donald Trump, because that's how he gets what he wants. It's a very important talent to know how to argue, debate, persuade, communicate, all of that stuff. And something my dad told me a few years ago. I love you too, something my dad
Oh.
told me a few years ago
Oh, the
is
truth is out. That's a Freudian slip right there.
something my dad told me a few years ago is the reason why he got to where he is now is because he's able to speak properly and he's able to make eye contact, okay? And if he's able to tell people that yes, I can do this. I may only be an engineer for 20 years, but I can do this thing that usually people with 30 years of experience can do, I promise. And so he goes and does it for the first time, and he learns how to do it along the way. And eventually he gets the job done, he submits it, turns it in, and he's phenomenal. Okay, that's why we're so rich. That's how we're not in debt right now. That's yeah. So just being able to persuade and convince people that you're capable of having an opinion or being able to do things or being talented, it's very important, okay? And so as for government class, being able to make some sort of statement in order to progress a debate, to make a final decision on something, it's a very important thing to learn while being in the class, okay? This is what we're here to learn for. It's basically a debate club at the end of the day, which is something that the other high school that starts with a C used to have, I think, but then they got rid of it because people argued too much or something. But yeah, that's what government class is now, just a debate club, but it's actually required
Yeah.
to graduate.
But that's if you have a class that's actually responsive. I presented my social security slides the other day, and the class just did not give a shit. They were more interested in the fact that I was dressed up gothy than the actual presentation that I
What?
spent a week on. So,
For real?
It is. Yeah.
yeah.
It is a definite issue that I've seen within government class is that if your class does not put in the research, then they will either misconstrue what you say or just not care.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
we didn't even vote on a policy. It was just our president spoke the whole time, and then because it was only the president speaking, we just went with his idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess that's another issue. Like, how are we expected to debate things when we're literally high schoolers that know nothing about Social Security and know nothing
They
about
expect us to get it wrong.
pregnancy and nothing about war? Like, what's going on? What do you have to say about that?
They expect us to get it wrong so that we learn what is right, you know?
Oh,
To go up there and like believe in this thing and then make a mistake and then realize, oh shit, we were wrong. Because high school is just practice for adult world, you know? It's
okay.
regular life with training wheels. So, once we graduate, that training wheels will be taken off. So I guess we're just trying to prepare us for that.
I see. I
The
never
only
thought of it that way.
issue that I have with that is how quickly word spreads, especially with something like Election Simulator, and how badly it can hurt the others around you is something that is also really rough.
Yeah, I mean, at least we're seniors, and so once we graduate, we're all going all over the place. So if we have enemies, then 9 times out of 10, yeah, would.
You're never gonna see him again.
You're never going to see him again. 9 times out of 10, we probably won't see him again. It depends what college you're going to. Like, a lot of the people I know and used to know in middle school, they're probably going to go to the community college that starts with a P. And I'm going to have to see him again anyways, okay? But that's if I
Exactly.
have the same classes with them. All right. You never know.
Hell yeah, I might see you again.
Yep,
Stefan.
we might be
U
all
of A
seeing each
gang.
other again.
Oh, yeah.
Depends on
U
the
of A
career,
gang.
though. Nah, Steven,
Oh.
you're alone. Fuck you.
No, freak
I
you.
know. Fuck.
I might
Alright.
I might see you, Steven, in like 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine we'll still hang out and go see shows and stuff. And like, if you make
Exactly.
any movies, I want to be involved in some way.
Of course.
Well, by the time we see Steven again, when we get our associate's degree and we actually go to the university, Steven will have a whole beard, and so we wouldn't recognize him.
I hope so. I'm gonna try to grow it out.
That's
I'm trying to
fine.
fill out the mustache first,
Mustache is
Right.
always first.
and then I'm gonna try to work on the beard.
Mm-hmm. It should take only 2 years to get like a whole patch around the whole face.
People think
At
it's
least for me.
fake. People think the mustache is fake. Emily's mom thought the mustache was fake.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Damn.
did she think it was drawn on, or was it just
Yeah, makeup.
makeup? I see. Interesting.
I thought the mustache was a good look, and she thought it was fake.
She liked it. She thought it was fake.
Speaking
Mm.
about facial hair, I have to shave everything off
Yeah.
again.
I need to ask
for-
Grandma if he wants me to shave. 'Cause I think I will.
He's a
I think I
hater.
have to, but he's a hater.
He's a hater of all facial hair except for his.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only
Mhm.
one.
Only
see
one.
how-
I think we
curls.
said his name there. Tyler, don't forget to censor out Mr. G's
Oh,
name. I think we said
yes.
his name there.
Sorry.
Y'all keep
Oh, okay.
forgetting.
Yes,
Unbelievable.
of course.
I keep you kind of forget that this whole thing gets recorded once in a while.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Well, speaking of facial hair and puberty, I'm gonna do another episode of the podcast about puberty because mostly to talk about my experience with growing up and how people never believed that I was 14 with a mustache, and like in my voice and stuff. I sound basically exactly like I do now when I was 14, and when I would play VR chat or Fortnite or stream on Twitch, I would meet people and they would assume that I'm 20. And so there's all kinds of stories I have there, and that's for another day. Yeah, so the original podcast group chat, it has a total of 6 members, and so it has room for 4 more people. And so, hang on, let me find the list of other episodes I have planned. So we have Making Friends, it's pretty basic. The Best Cat Breeds, we can talk about cats. And
I
then
like cats.
the puberty episode, and then theater, we're doing that right now, so I gotta cross that off. Childhood memories, the origins of Professor Teagues, my whole history as a content creator, basically. Driving, so we talk about our experience with getting our driver's license. Walter
drive.
Neon, my own original character. Government class, so I go more in detail of what it's like being in a government class. Gentle parenting, which is something that my German friends, he's actually German, he lives in Germany. Something my German friend suggested, and I don't know why he wanted to do that, but I'm very curious to see why. So I guess we can talk about parental units being softer rather than harder. And then drugs, we did that last week, and it's already uploaded.
Nice.
Palm oil, which apparently there's a lot of lore behind palm oil. I don't know why. And then animal breeding, because this person has he takes issue with zoos and how we keep animals in captivity, and so he wants to talk about like breeding animals and fattening animals before we eat them and stuff. So I want to know what you guys say about that. So anyway, the reason why I bring this all up, it's a proposition. If any of you would like to become longer than temporary or even permanent members of the podcast, then the option is always there, because it's usually just
Mhm.
me and Owen that record. And my German friend is in the hospital right now. I don't know what for, and so they're gone for like 2 weeks. So yeah.
He saw a Jewish person.
Okay.
I couldn't
That
help
reminds
myself.
me.
I couldn't
I
help
wouldn't-
myself.
I wouldn't
Anyways,
You had a-
mind continuing
heart attack.
because I could
Yeah, no,
definitely
I
talk
do have
about
a
Gov
conversation.
class. Gov, there's a lot that happens. I always go tell Steven everything that happens every day.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Scott's my little inside man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Professor, if I may ask, this is a personal question. What headset do you use for VR chat?
Well, the Quest 2. I want to get the Quest 3 so bad, but I would use it once a week. So, Quest 2, that's what I got.
Yeah. Okay, I was wondering because I have a Quest 3.
I mean, they're both Oculus. So, like,
Yeah.
do you want to assist, or, well, not assist, but be in the interviews and I can ask whatever questions going on that week?
Of course.
Yes.
Just let me know. I haven't used VR chat in a long, long time.
Well, what do you do in VR chat?
Well, I've only had like semi 20 hours. So I mostly just walked around and watched people interact.
Like in the Black Hat, or just random worlds you find?
Just random worlds I find.
Okay. Have you ever talked to any furries? Because that's where it's at.
Not don't really talk in VR chat. I just watch, and the interactions that I've seen with fairies are interesting. Very
Yeah, they are.
strange.
Woof.
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 Being a retired furry, I can confirm that.
I am also
Oh,
a
wow.
retired furry.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you went? Okay. I'll let me get my fur mask that I used to wear all the time.
No.
Oh no! Oh
No
god!
more.
Oh god!
Jeez, let me
We
put it
we
on.
we we can't even see it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
No,
I
there's
feel
no
the
camera,
essence
so.
of it.
Let me get a screenshot and I can post it in.
I feel the essence.
I
Remember
can, his
that
voice is
this
muffled from the mask.
I remember this was about theater.
Yeah.
God damn it. That is a wild.
Well, this is like
that
an
a wild
average
That-
theater conversation.
Yeah, no,
So it's not off.
people
like-
people at home. This is normal theater conversation.
normal
Theater
conversation.
conversations are not normal. We don't
It's
even
usually
talk about
less
theater
formal
half the
than
time.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so VR chat, yes. Yeah, we can talk about it more, Charlie. I guess we can conclude this. It's like over an hour long, hour and 13 minutes. So,
Have fun editing it.
closing remarks, if any of you have anything to say.
Theater builds
Um,
great community building skills.
Theater is great. You should do it because it's fun and yeah.
For people who approach theater and want to create things, just go for it. But you do also need to know that a lot of times it won't work out, and you just
Really hard.
It's so hard. But
That's what
you
she
just if exactly that's what they said. That's what they said. But it's just you got to sink in a lot of time if you want to create something, and I guarantee talking to the person that's watching this, you have a perspective that is unique from everyone, and you can always share that one way or another.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was my statement.
Yes, very
This one goes out to
inspirational.
Tyler's one viewer.
Yes.
The one viewer.
The singular guy or
Yeah,
gal.
if I
watching.
give the episode a clickbait title, like we talked about the 9 things of like our favorite things of all time, like 9 favorite albums, 9 favorite games, 9 favorite movies and shows. And so the episode ended up being 2.5 hours long, and so I decided to be funny and make the title the 9 things I hate about France. Guess how many views I got?
How many?
200.
20 views. That's up like 15 because they usually get like 1 to 5 views.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
20 views because people wanted to know what I thought about France. But we didn't talk about France, did we?
Clickbait.
The most popular episode is the volume 0, which has like 80 views for some reason, where I did this podcast IRL with my friends. So there was like 6 of us. And it was kind of interesting. It was muffled for some of it because I had the microphone in the middle of my room and I had to turn up the volume, but still, like, people echo. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so that concludes it for today's episode of the Professor's Lab podcast. Sub to the main channel, follow the Rumble, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, and join the Discord server. Remember, everyone, it's all just for funsies. That's our motto. Bye-bye. Everyone say bye-bye.
Bye
Bye-bye.